somewhat of a bombshell from Chelsea. Diego Costa won't be travelling to Leicester for their game this weekend and may not feature again for the Blues. Now, for more on this and what has transpired over the last few days, let's welcome Raf Honigstein to the show. Raf, I know you've been talking to some of your sources in London. What's the latest on this?
The latest is that this is a row going back quite a few days, and it's quite amazing that Chelsea have been able to keep this under wraps. Ever since the beginning of the month, I think it's fair to say that Costa's head has been turned by a very big offer, well over £500,000 a week. An offer that Chelsea obviously cannot compete with. Their ambition, their aim was to give him a new contract, but obviously not of that magnitude. Ever since that offer has come in, Costa has basically refused to train properly. That's why he's been left out. But Chelsea have absolutely no intention of selling him in January, knowing that even £80 million will not do much for you because you can't get a replacement in. So it is a bit of a classic stalemate at the moment. Now,
this offer has come from China. You do the maths. This is up to $36 million a year for Diego Costa. The money is incredible. Before we talk about that, let's talk about how this could affect Chelsea as a whole. Because Shaka, I think pretty much everyone has agreed this is Chelsea's title to lose. Yet you take Diego Costa out of the equation. How much of a game changer is that?
I think it's a huge game changer. And when you look back on the last 14 games, 13 of which Chelsea have won, there were games in there that Chelsea did not play well. Yet Diego Costa was able to come up with a goal. Cometh the hour, cometh the man, Diego Costa. And I think he's been having is not just his best season in a blue shirt, but probably his best season as a professional footballer. And this coming at a time where everything, last result aside, just seemed to be going so well for Chelsea, playing well. The dressing room seemed to be unified. Everybody seemed to be in love with Antonio Conte. And as I kept saying, and you point out, Dan, this was their title to lose. And now this, Chelsea proving possibly to be their own worst enemy.
Ali, we take a look at his stats. You know, it's obvious to say how key he has been in Chelsea's title chart so far this season. At the halfway point, a number of you had Diego Costa as the player of the season.
Player of the season and perhaps the most valuable player for his team. And you look at Diego Costa and what he means to Chelsea and what he does for this team. It's not only the hold-up plays, not only the running in behind, not only stretching defenders, but also the fact that he scores the big goals. You put all of that together, and there's nobody else in Chelsea that can even come close to doing that job. When we have sat here and said, this is over, Chelsea's going to run away with this, there's nobody that can actually close that gap with Chelsea. The one caveat that was there was, unless they lose Diego Costa. We might have thought it was because injury, because one of the things that we've talked about, can you keep him fit? But not through this. But he is under contract until 2019. So if you're Diego Costa, I don't know how much of a choice you have here. You may have a stalemate, but eventually if you want to play, you're under contract, you will have to come back to Conte and say, here I am.
Well, this is the problem as well. We know what Antonio Conte is like, don't we? We know what he wants from his players. We know how regimented he is, and we know how easily he can turn his back on you if you're not doing exactly what he wants.
Exactly.
But there's a story circulating that apparently he shouted to Costa, "We'll just go to China."
Okay.
Then.
Well, look, I think there's a few people that have got to... The management most certainly have got to take some blame for this because, as Raf says, this has been bubbling for 3 days, and they have done well to keep this quiet. It's up to the management to bring him in and talk to him. I'm talking about the ownership. I'm talking about the coaches, the sporting director. It's so important to say, look, Diego, keep your head on. Come to some arrangement with him privately and say, look, we'll let you go in the summer. But win us the title. You know, be a happy bunny like he has been. And then we'll move on from there. Because this, you know, we talk about, OK, all he's going to do is going to put Hazard in the 9 role. He's going to play Willian and he's going to play Pedro. OK, great. But you can't do that for the rest of the season because I don't think those guys are durable enough in that number 9 role. Now, Batshuayi is not doing it for them, so they've got a massive issue. And I just think they've handled it very, very poorly. For the praise that we've been pouring on Conte, I think for him to pile in, and if he did say that to Costa, that's not very good coaching, not very good management.